Hello and welcome. Prepare yourself for 52 thrilling challenges that await your expertise. Which material is best for keeping things warm? Wool, plastic, paper. The correct answer is wool. Here's an interesting fact. Wool traps heat and is often used in winter clothing. What happens when a shadow is formed? Light is blocked. Light increases. Sound is made. The correct answer is light is blocked. Here's an interesting fact. A shadow forms when an object blocks light from passing through. Which part of a plant carries water from roots to leaves? Stem, flower, seed. The correct answer is stem. Here's an interesting fact. The stem transports water and nutrients from the roots upward. What happens to most liquids when they are cooled? They freeze. They boil. They catch fire. The correct answer is, they freeze. Here's an interesting fact. Most liquids freeze and turn into solids when cooled. Why do we wear cotton in summer? It keeps us cool. It is heavy. It is waterproof. The correct answer is, it keeps us cool. Here's an interesting fact. Cotton is light and lets air pass through, keeping us cool. Which body part controls the rest of the body? Brain, legs, hands. The correct answer is brain. Here's an interesting fact. The brain sends messages to control the body. What is the job of your skeleton? Supports the body. Cleans your blood. Makes you sleepy. The correct answer is, supports the body. Here's an interesting fact. The skeleton supports and protects the body and helps with movement. Why should we not touch electric wires? It can shock us. They are hot. They are sticky. The correct answer is, it can shock us. Here's an interesting fact. Touching live electric wires can cause electric shock or injury. Which gas do plants take in from the air? Carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen. The correct answer is carbon dioxide. Here's an interesting fact. Plants use carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. What does a magnet attract? Metal, wood, plastic. The correct answer is metal. Here's an interesting fact. Magnets attract certain metals like iron and steel. What happens when ice is heated? It melts. It turns blue. It floats. The correct answer is, it melts. Here's an interesting fact: ice melts into water when heated. What helps your blood travel around your body? Heart, stomach, skin. The correct answer is heart. Here's an interesting fact: the heart pumps blood through the body. What is the main source of energy for plants? Sun, moon, stars. The correct answer is sun. Here's an interesting fact: the sun provides energy for plants to grow through photosynthesis. Which part of the plant makes food? Leaves, roots, stem. The correct answer is leaves. Here's an interesting fact: leaves make food using sunlight in a process called photosynthesis. Which of these is waterproof? Plastic raincoat, wool jumper, paper bag. The correct answer is plastic raincoat. Here's an interesting fact: plastic keeps water out and is often used in rainwear. What do herbivores eat? Plants, meat, stones. The correct answer is plants. Here's an interesting fact: herbivores eat only plants. What do you call a group of stars forming a shape? Constellation, planet, asteroid. The correct answer is constellation. Here's an interesting fact: constellations are star patterns visible in the night sky. What can we use to measure temperature? Thermometer, scale, clock. The correct answer is thermometer. Here's an interesting fact: a thermometer shows how hot or cold something is. What are fish covered with? Scales, fur, feathers. The correct answer is scales. Here's an interesting fact: fish have scales that help protect their bodies. What force pulls things to the ground? Gravity, friction, electricity. The correct answer is gravity. Here's an interesting fact: gravity pulls everything toward the Earth. What is the natural satellite of Earth? Moon, sun, star. The correct answer is moon. Here's an interesting fact. The moon is Earth's only natural satellite. Which animal is cold-blooded? Lizard, dog, cow. The correct answer is lizard. Here's an interesting fact. Cold-blooded animals change their body temperature based on their environment. Why should we eat fruits and vegetables? They are healthy. They are salty. They are expensive. The correct answer is, they are healthy. Here's an interesting fact. Fruits and vegetables contain vitamins and fiber. What do animals need to live? Food, water, air. Toys, clothes, books. Light, fans, phones. The correct answer is food, water, air. Here's an interesting fact. These are basic survival needs for animals. What do tadpoles grow into? Frogs, fish, snakes. The correct answer is frogs. Here's an interesting fact. Tadpoles are baby frogs that grow legs and become adults. What do we call animals that hunt other animals? Predators, herbivores, builders. The correct answer is predators. Here's an interesting fact. Predators catch and eat other animals for food. What helps us see during the day? Sun, moon, clouds. The correct answer is sun. Here's an interesting fact. The sun provides light that helps us see. Why does your shadow change during the day? Sun moves. You grow. It rains. The correct answer is sun moves. Here's an interesting fact. As the sun moves, the angle of the light changes, changing the shadow's shape and size. What organ helps us breathe? Lungs, stomach, liver. The correct answer is lungs. Here's an interesting fact. Lungs take in oxygen and remove carbon dioxide when we breathe. What happens to a balloon when you blow air into it? It expands. It shrinks. It disappears. The correct answer is, it expands. Here's an interesting fact. Air pressure inside the balloon causes it to grow bigger. What is the process of water turning into gas? Evaporation, melting, freezing. The correct answer is evaporation. Here's an interesting fact: evaporation happens when water turns into vapor in heat. What sense organ do you use to feel things? Skin, tongue, eyes. The correct answer is skin. Here's an interesting fact: skin helps us feel temperature, pain, and texture. What animal has a hard shell and moves slowly? Tortoise, cat, frog. The correct answer is tortoise. Here's an interesting fact: tortoises have strong shells and move slowly on land. What is a baby butterfly called before it grows wings? Caterpillar, chick, tadpole. The correct answer is caterpillar. Here's an interesting fact: caterpillars grow and turn into butterflies through metamorphosis. What is the process of a seed becoming a plant? Germination, melting, evaporation. The correct answer is germination. Here's an interesting fact: germination is the process when a seed starts to grow roots and leaves. What do you use to look at very tiny things? Microscope, telescope, binoculars. The correct answer is microscope. Here's an interesting fact: a microscope helps you see very small things like cells or germs. What keeps the planets in orbit around the sun? Gravity, wind, rain. The correct answer is gravity. Here's an interesting fact: gravity from the sun holds the planets in orbit. What happens to light when it hits a mirror? It reflects. It stops. It freezes. The correct answer is it reflects. Here's an interesting fact: mirrors bounce light back. This is called reflection. Which part of the body is used for smelling? Nose, mouth, hand. The correct answer is nose. Here's an interesting fact: the nose helps us detect smells and scents. What makes thunder? Lightning, rain, sunlight. The correct answer is lightning. Here's an interesting fact: thunder is the sound made by the rapid heating from lightning. What do we use to protect our eyes from bright sunlight? Sunglasses, helmet, scarf. The correct answer is sunglasses. Here's an interesting fact: sunglasses block harmful sunlight and protect your eyes. What happens to water in a freezer? It turns to ice. It turns to gas. It evaporates. The correct answer is, it turns to ice. Here's an interesting fact: water becomes ice when it freezes. Which part of the body helps you taste? Tongue, skin, eyes. The correct answer is tongue. Here's an interesting fact: the tongue helps detect flavors like sweet, sour, salty. Which organ helps digest food? Stomach, brain, lung. The correct answer is stomach. Here's an interesting fact: the stomach breaks down food into nutrients the body can use. What do trees release that we need to breathe? Oxygen, carbon, nitrogen. The correct answer is oxygen. Here's an interesting fact: trees absorb carbon dioxide and give off oxygen. What kind of weather brings lightning and thunder? Storm, snow, fog. The correct answer is storm. Here's an interesting fact: storms often include rain, lightning, and thunder. What is a baby sheep called? Lamb, foal, cub. The correct answer is lamb. Here's an interesting fact: a young sheep is called a lamb. What keeps your bones together and helps you move? Muscles, teeth, skin. The correct answer is muscles. Here's an interesting fact: muscles attach to bones and help us move. Which is the hottest planet in the solar system? Venus, Earth, Mars. The correct answer is Venus. Here's an interesting fact: Venus has a thick atmosphere that traps heat. Which body part do birds use to fly? Wings, fins, paws. The correct answer is wings. Here's an interesting fact: birds use their wings to lift into the air and fly. What helps push a boat across water? Wind, fire, soil. The correct answer is wind. Here's an interesting fact: wind pushes sails and helps boats move across water. What tool helps scientists learn about stars? Telescope, microscope, stethoscope. The correct answer is telescope. Here's an interesting fact: a telescope helps see distant stars and planets. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Stay tuned for more exciting content, and we'll catch you in the next one.